In this video, I'm going to dive into lettering. I haven't really covered it that much, if at all, so I thought now's the time. I'm also going to celebrate football season in the process by making a banner dedicated to my favorite football team, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The first thing I'm going to do is to make a brushed steel background. I already have the new document set up, but you can't put a gradient, which is what I want to do, on this because as you can see over here there's no layer. So what I'm going to have to do is to add a pixel layer, and now we have something that we can draw on. The gradient that I want, make sure our gradient tool is selected, boom, right there. I would like a radial gradient, and I'm going to start in the middle and pull it out like that, and our gradient is going to be lighter in the center than it is on the edges, but I want to make a little bit of a color alteration there. So what I'm going to do is, with this one selected, this one in the middle, I'm going to click on color and make it a little bit darker in the center, and then click on this one and make it even darker than that. So we're going to have something that looks a little bit like this, so it will look like brushed steel in the end. We've got it gray on the outside and we've got it a little bit lighter on the inside, so we can click out of that. Now the next thing I want to do is to add some noise. So make sure that you always click on this layer right here, or else you're going to be surprised when it doesn't do anything. And so I'm going to go up to filters and I'm going to go to noise and add noise. And as you can see, it adds the noise, and I'm going to turn my noise up to 100%. Make sure that the monochromatic box is selected, and then we can select apply. Now we want this to look like a brushed steel, and to do that we're going to have to go up to filters again and then select blur and motion blur. I don't think I've used motion blur yet in my videos, but now's the time, I guess. And notice when I hit motion blur how it gives you that brushed steel effect. And I actually want to keep it here. I want it to be around 40 to 50 pixels. If I turn it down, notice how it does that. I turn it up, it gets more and more distressed. So I'm going to put, I think 40 looks good right here. Your rotation is going to be 270 degrees, and then I'm going to select apply. Now notice this weird stuff around the edge. To get rid of that, we are going to make this bigger, and we are going to make this bigger. We're going to pull it off the edges so we can get rid of that weird edge. And now we have what we want. Okay, now this isn't exactly the color we want. What we want is to have kind of a blue steel type thing, and to do that we're going to need to add an adjustment layer right here, and we're going to have recolor. And the recolor is not going to be red, but it's going to be a bluish color. And then we're going to turn the saturation down until we get to about 8 pixels. So we have a steel-like color that has kind of a blue cast. And so once we get the color we want, we can click off of that and we have our background. Now we need to do the text. But before we do that, I want to take this adjustment layer and move it back inside here so it doesn't get mixed up and start affecting our other layers. So now we have our adjustment layer for the background nested inside our pixel layer. Okay, now we need to hunt up the text. Over here is the Artistic Text Tool box. So we want to go in here and we want Artistic Text Tool, and we want to pick a place and then type in the word that we want, which is Okay, so we have Steelers typed in. This Steelers layer is going to be sitting on the top, or we're going to have all sorts of weird stuff happening if we don't make sure that it's in the right place. Now this isn't right now it's set on Arial, the Arial font. I don't really want that. I would like to have a font that's called Franklin Gothic Heavy. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to look for Franklin Gothic Heavy. And there it is, and click on Franklin Gothic Heavy. Now the Steelers logo does have its own type of font, and I did look that up, but I couldn't, it's not located in this particular program, and I went to hunt for it to see if I could download the font, and apparently I guess it's a font that's particular to that particular emblem, so I couldn't find it, but this is close enough, and I guess it keeps me from heading into the old copyright infringement problem. Alrighty, now we need to give this a color, and we're going to set our color to gray. So there's gray. We've got it, let's make it a little bit darker gray. There we go. So we've got it on gray. Okay, maybe I want this one. Okay, I like that one. So we're going to have gray, and we're going to have to add an adjustment layer. So we have an adjustment layer on this one, and this adjustment layer is going to be HSL, and we want our adjustment layer to be nested inside the Steelers font layer. So we have the font, whoops, we can open that back up. If you ever do what I just did and close the box by mistake, you can always just click on that and it will open it back up again. Now what we want is we want to change the luminosity on here, and I'm going to change it to about -40 or so. So that would change the shade a little bit. See if we turn it up, well, it's going to disappear on us, and so we want like maybe maybe there. I kind of like that one better than the one I did originally. Well, I'll put it on 32. Okay, so put it on 32, and then I can close that out and make sure that it's inside of we can collapse this down, and then what we're going to do is with this Steelers layer selected, we're going to right click and duplicate it. So we're going to right click and duplicate the layer, and now we have two of them. Now you can't see them because they're both the same color. I mean, even if you click off of that, you're not going to be able to tell. Okay, now I want to put an image on top of this top Steelers layer. So I'm going to select my pixel layer so that all of this is selected, and then I'm going to go in and do a File and Place and select this thing called Metal. And I'm going to open it up and place it, but notice that it's going the wrong way for one thing, and then I'm going to have to flip it around. So I don't want the grain to be going this way. So I'm going to go up to Arrange, and then I'm going to click Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Then all I have to do is to move it into place where it's there, and then we're going to take it and move it inside of the top Steelers layer, and there you are. See how it's in there? It's nested in there along with the adjustment layer for this particular Steelers layer, and it affects that top layer only, because what's going to happen is your second layer is going to be the one where we do the 3D. Well, we're actually going to do 3D on both of them, but the second one is the one with the 3D shade, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Now, with the top layer selected, I'm going to go up here and go to Filters and Noise and Add Noise. And the assistant is going to tell us that it's going to rasterize the layer, so we can turn that off. And now we can adjust this to get the noise that we want, and I think I'll put it about right there at about 80, and then I will select Apply. With the top layer selected still, we're not going to go off of that one yet. We're going to click on Effects right here. We want to put some effects on here. So we're going to click on Effects, and that's going to open our effects box, and then we're going to check 3D. So we have 3D right there. And once we get the 3D selected, notice it's going 3D already, and I want to move my pixels up to about 7 or so. You don't have to be exact, but it's going to be, for me, it's going to be about 7 pixels or so. And then once we do that, we're going to close that box. Now we're going to select the other text layer. See, there's our other text layer. And we're going to add effects to that one. I turned the other one off so we could see what we're doing here. Turn the other one off, select Effects, and then select 3D, and make sure whenever you select the checkbox that you also select the whole thing, or else it's not going to do anything. That's kind of a peculiarity of this program. I don't know why it does that, but we're going to turn this up to about 7 or so. And so we have this particular one, and then we're going to close it. So now I can turn this back on, and we have both of them with our 3D selected. Now we need to do some work on this second layer, so make sure that you didn't click off of it and you still have the second layer selected. So with the second layer selected, I'm going to select the Enter key. And the Enter key is going to give us our 3D. So we're going to put for horizontal 1 pixel, for vertical 1 pixel, and then we're going to click on the duplicate box, because that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be duplicating it. The insertion mode is going to be Insert New Items Behind, because that's where all of our copies are going to be inserted. Now we're going to click on the number of copies. Right now it's set on 1. But we're going to move this slider until we get our 3D effect. And see how we get our 3D effect? I mean, we can make it pretty big, but I don't want to do that. Or else it's going to look kind of odd. So I think I'm going to keep it like that. And then I'm going to say OK and get out of that. And now we have our 3D effect. Okay. Now, this is what we have right now. We have our Steelers lettering and all of the copies that it made. Can you imagine what it would be like if you had to do all these by hand? But the 3D application just makes all those copies for you, and also it keeps you from doing all that. Well, select this copy and then go 1, 2, 3, 4. Select this copy, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all that stuff. If you've ever tried to make 3D things before, you kind of know what I mean. But I want to be able to move this, and I can't right now. At least not all in one piece. So I'm going to select this top Steelers lettering and go down and select the bottom Steelers lettering. And then I'm going to right click on it, and I am going to group them together. And now I've got this thing as all in one group, and I can move them. And we've got our group of Steelers letters, and we've got our pixel layer, and now we need to do our logo. So the first thing I'm going to do before drawing the logo is I'm going to select my pixel layer, because I'm going to be dragging in another image. And I'm going to go File and Place, and here is a Steelers logo. So I'm going to open it, and I'm going to draw it right there. And the reason I'm doing this is not because I want to use a copyrighted Steelers logo. I guess I could, because it's altered enough to where I don't think anybody would complain. But I want to use these colors so I can use my color picker on the one I'm actually going to draw. Let's move this up here out of the way. Okay, so to make my Steelers logo, I need 2 ellipses. So I'm going to choose the ellipse tool, and then I'm going to hit Shift and draw my ellipse. Let's move you out of the way there. And so I have my ellipse, and then I'm going to duplicate that ellipse. I not only want that one, but I want another one. So now I have just made two ellipses. And I want one ellipse to be smaller than the other because one of them is going to be the black, is going to be black, and that's going to be the big one, and the other one is going to be the gray one, and that's going to be the little one. So I want my fill for this ellipse is going to be black. So I'm going to fill that as being black and move that ellipse underneath this one. Where did you go? Oh, I don't want that to happen. Why won't it? Come on, move out. There we go. Okay, so I want my top ellipse to be gray, and I want it to be smaller than the other one. So I'm going to press Shift, and I'm going to reduce the size, move it around until, and we can use our lines here to center it. So now we have it centered, and this particular one is going to be filled with gray. So there's gray. So now we have a black ellipse and a gray ellipse with a gray ellipse in the center. Now what I want to do is I need the stars. So to do that, I'm going to go out here and I need my star tool and hold down Shift and draw my star. So that's going to be that big. I need a stroke on there though, because if I don't, I'm never going to be able to see it. And I do want my stroke color to be black, so I'll put a stroke on there. And let me see. Come on. So you can kind of barely see it, I guess. Stroke is, I don't want to make it too big because I want to get rid of the stroke later on, or maybe I'll keep it, I don't know. I've usually been getting rid of it. Our star, though, needs to have only 4 of these prongs. So I'm going to go up here to Points and press 4 and enter. And now we have 4 points on our star, but notice how these stars are kind of smoothed out. To do this, we're going to have to right click and select Convert to Curves. So we'll select Convert to Curves, and then what we can do is we can click on this and make it a little round node. This isn't any different than Designer, except there are a few things that are missing, but we can click on this and move this out a little bit. Click on this and move this out a little bit. Click on that and move that out a little bit. And let's see what we have wound up with. I think probably this needs to be out a little bit. And so let's see what we have. Let's click off of it, and that looks good. I mean, I'm good with that. So let's see how much space this is taking up because, well, I think they'll fit. Okay. Now I want to make 2 more copies of this. So I'm going to go Control J and J, and we're going to have our 2 other stars. So we can drag one out and drag the other one out. And I'm not going to put in any text in like on this one. So this will be all right. And we can use the lines to line them up, I mean, if we want. I just want to make like a little triad here of stars. And so this one up here, I'm going to make red. So I want to copy the red from this logo. So I'm going to use my color picker tool and copy the red, and there we have red. And I'm going to take that off. So now it doesn't have it's not highlighted anymore. I'm going to select this one, and with my color picker tool, I'm going to select this color. Oh, I didn't move it back, sorry. Okay, it needs to be moved back there. Okay, so I'm going to select my color picker tool and select that. And I already took the outline off. And then I'm going to select this last star, and with my color picker tool, I'm going to select this shade of blue. And so now we have our blue stars. So, and I need to get rid of that. Okay, so now we got rid of all of our outlines. Since I no longer need this, I can get rid of it. So I'm going to delete it. And so now I've got these in here. I'm going to fancy this up a little bit right now. I'm going to select this ellipse, and then I'm going to go to filters and noise and add some noise. I'm really into this noise business these days. Okay, the assistant is telling us that it has to rasterize the layer. Okay, I guess it's done telling us. And I'm going to turn the noise for the black all the way up because it's kind of hard to see it. And I'm going to apply that. And then the ellipse, I am going to add some noise for that. So I'm going to go to filters and noise and then add noise. And notice how much noise we have. We have quite a bit of noise there. I don't really want that much. So I'm going to turn it down a little on this. It's more obvious on the gray one. So there I have that, and then I'll apply that, and then I'll do the same thing to the stars. I'll add noise to the star, noise, add noise, and it's telling us it has to rasterize it again. Yes, we know. Click that off. And so now our star got a little bit of noise. Okay, I just want a little bit of noise, and apply. And the same for the other stars. We'll click on the blue one, filters, and noise, and add the noise. And it automatically, since it was set on 54% anyway, it added 54% noise, which I like. I'm going to go ahead and apply for that one, and then do the same thing for the yellow one. Go to filters and noise and add noise. And it's going to tell us again that it has to rasterize the layer. So we know that. And I'll close it. And then I'm going to apply. And now we have all of our noise added. The last thing I'm going to do is to add a little bit of a glow to the outside. So I want to add an effect. So I'm going to open the effects panel, and then I'm going to click on outer glow. And remember, we need to also select the rectangle. So I have my outer glow, and then I'm going to pull the radius over until I get my outer glow on my symbol. So I think I'm going to stick with that and click out of that, and there's my Steelers banner. So there we are. My banner is ready for this football season. Hopefully my Steelers are ready too. As I record this, they've already won their first game, so I'm hopeful for this year. In this video, this is what we learned. We learned how to create a metallic background, make some 3D text, and use the noise filter to give a metallic finish to our creation. I hope you can find some value in this video, and remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to keep up to date on when my videos drop. So far, I've been pretty good about making about one a week. So when you have time, check out my latest posts on my Buy Me a Coffee page. If you want to support my channel, buy me a cup while you're at it, and it would make me feel real good if you tried out some of these yourself. It doesn't have to be on a team you support. It can be anything. So use your imagination.